Warm greetings to you all curious teachers of English. When students learn vocabulary, they need to constantly recycle it. They need to learn the word that should pass from their working memory to the long-term memory through repetition and use of the vocabulary. Eventually, they will be able to retrieve the word whenever they need it. What can be done to facilitate our students' vocabulary learning? That is the question today. I still hear teachers recommend students keep vocabulary copybooks. Those copybooks with pages divided in 3 equal parts. In the first column, the word is written, in the second, its transcription, and in the third, its translation. If we are truly honest with ourselves, they've never worked. They didn't work when I learned English, as the vocabulary copybook didn't prove to have any practical use at all for me. That's why I gave it up at a certain point. Then I noticed that it doesn't work with my students as well. Maybe there are some students who find it useful. I would argue that they are in a small minority. In this video, I'd like to suggest what we could consider as a replacement for the traditional vocabulary copybook. I am convinced that most of you know about this technique, but I'd like to dwell more on how it can be practically used throughout the year. I believe that by asking students to keep vocabulary folders is more likely to help them learn vocabulary. Above all, use it effectively. So let me explain. We are all familiar with the concept word web, also known as mind map or memory web. This is a diagram in which students create semantic networks, allowing them to see the visual representations of how words come together, that is, of how they collocate. Definitely students should be familiar with this activity. Moreover, it can turn into a great routine. Let me show you how students could potentially work with such a web. Let's assume this time that we are dealing with the topic, the home of my dreams. The word to be webbed is home. You can definitely present a completed word web, but students may benefit more if they think for themselves and decide where each new word fits. A circle is drawn in the middle of the paper. Students write the word home in it. Then they draw 4 lines. 2 on the left side of the circle and the other 2 on the right side. Now on the left side, they should be used to writing what comes before home. Thus, on the first line, they write the adjectives comfortable, parental, spiritual. On the second line, they write the prepositions that usually come before home, such as at and away from. On the right side of the circle, they write the verbs go, get, come, leave. On the second line, nouns that go after home, such as number, address. It is possible to include synonyms to the word like house, residence, and if needed, the translation. You may even consider encouraging students including the transcription of the word in the circle. Now, we don't want our students to write all the words out there that are used with home. At elementary levels, we begin with the most frequently used, and we encourage our students to come back to the word and add a new word when they come across one. The students should also be encouraged to use the diagram whenever they talk, write, or read about something related to home. Such lists should consist of the most frequent content words in English. The frequency can be easily checked with various websites like, for example, lextutor.ca. I think this can be a good way of recycling vocabulary. In addition, research has shown that words should be learned horizontally and not vertically. As known, students cover 6 big areas in our context. They are the student's perception of themselves, family, environment, school life, social relationships, and culture. They are bound to come to use home quite often throughout the years and thus enrich their vocabulary by adding more words to the web. We can also encourage students to draw topic maps, also known as concept maps, which are an extension of the word web. Here students are encouraged to write the word in the center box and then add some useful subheadings in the other boxes. Then they collect and group words under the subheadings, connecting each new line to the appropriate box. Let's imagine we deal with the topic climate change. So in the center box, they write climate change. They can have the following subheadings: greenhouse effect, global warming, extreme weather events. Now the lexical items for the subheadings can be greenhouse gases, trap air in the atmosphere, heat, warms the earth, sun, sends heat to earth, earth receives heat from sun, Atmosphere blanket around Earth. Global warming, increase in global temperature, weather, changes due to increased heat. Extreme weather events, storms, strong winds and heavy rains, floods, overflowing water covering land, droughts, long periods with little or no rain, heat waves, extended periods of very hot weather. According to Jim Scrivener, this way of recording lexical items may reflect accurately the way we store lexical items networks in our brains and may therefore be more useful for our students than the traditional lists. Hope it was useful.